Hey toy collectors, welcome to another super exciting outrageous toy review. Today, we're talking about the Antigravity Pod and its pilot Nullifier.
Pretty rapid.
G.I. Joe! G.I. Joe it is! G.I. Force 2000! The bad guy Battle Force 2000! It comes with a man! It's one of Destro's things. Yeah, I know, it's one of Destro's men. No, it's one of Destro's things.
Oh, what do you say, Kev? You got some really nice presents, Kev.
This vehicle and driver are part of Destro's Iron Grenadiers, his personal army. On the packaging, it talked about them being the adversaries to the G.I. Joe team Battle Force 2000. Nobody beats G.I. Joe, a real American hero. But in the comic books, Larry Hama had a civil war breakout between Cobra Commander and Serpentor, and this gave Destro a chance to sort of fight against the Cobras. The Antigravity Pod is the main vehicle in the Iron Grenadier Air Force, and the Vector Jet is pretty much the only true aircraft in Battle Force 2000, so I guess these two ships were meant to battle each other? Roger, we got a bogey at 12 o'clock. I see him. The Antigravity Pod looks amazing in the Iron Grenadiers classic colors, black, gold, and red. I think this uses the perfect amount of each of those colors, similar to the Demon and some of the other early Iron Grenadier vehicles. They eventually got away from this scheme. They started doing orange vehicles and vehicles that were mostly red with a little black, and this color combination looked the best. The clear red windshields, a little bit of red details, mostly black. The Antigravity Pod is basically a vertical takeoff and landing vehicle. It has these thrusters that can make it take off, and then they tilt to make it fly. It's got a cockpit with plenty of room for a figure inside. It's got little joysticks and some technical details in there. There's even a little sticker on the dashboard. It's got movable guns that can be aimed in pretty much any direction, which is a little bit ridiculous, but really great for taking out ground troops as well as other aircraft. The Antigravity Pod has 4 gold missiles that peg on using the dumbbells. These missiles are really nice in design. They're big so you don't lose them, which is great. They stay on really well. And the other little feature this vehicle has is a little fin here for steering. Anti-Gravity Pod features the Destro Iron Grenadier logo at several places on it, which I think looks really nice. It also has these 7H95 stickers on them. I'm not really sure if there's any importance to that designation. To seat Nullifier inside the vehicle, I tend to bend his knees just a little bit. I used to like to also try and line up his hands with these pegs. I wouldn't usually have him actually hold on, but I'd try and sort of line it up so it looked like he was holding on to them. And then close the hatch. Another fun thing from my childhood was my friends and I were born at just the wrong time to be Star Wars fans. When we weren't playing G.I. Joe, my friends and I would often pretend this was the TIE Fighter from Star Wars. Put the TIE Pilot in there, close it up, you're ready to go. My friends and I were born at the very end of the Star Wars trend, Return of the Jedi being the only movie released while we were alive. So basically by the time we were old enough to play with toys, the Star Wars toys were out of the stores. And so most of our collections were made up of figures from yard sales and things like that. We really didn't have a lot of Star Wars vehicles, so oftentimes G.I. Joe vehicles did double duty. The Anti-Gravity Pod included a pilot. His name is Nullifier, and I always thought he was a pretty cool figure. He's dressed in brown armor that makes him look pretty tough. He's a very bulky G.I. Joe figure. He's got maroon pads and wires and things on him and a few black details. His really kind of neatest feature, in my opinion, as a kid was his visor. This is actually a separate piece that pegs onto little tiny pegs on his helmet, much like Alley Viper and Night Viper. I'm not going to remove it because I don't want to risk breaking the pegs. I used to like to have him wear it like this, and then when he was going to go into action, have it shift down. The chin thing on his helmet is also ridiculous. his armor has these crazy details on it that don't really match Iron Grenadiers or really almost the rest of his body. I always thought his lower half seemed very different from his upper half. His lower half has like creases to it. It's just sort of regular pants with maybe these little armored boots. But his torso is very otherworldly as compared to having pants with laces on them. It was revealed that Nullifier, maybe not named Nullifier, but this figure was going to be released as part of Cobra La. He was going to be in a follow-up series and be the driver to a Cobra La motorcycle type vehicle. That got scrapped and the figure got moved to the Iron Grenadiers. I heard about this at the last JoeCon, and I just thought that was kind of an interesting revelation because this guy doesn't really look like an Iron Grenadier that much, and I can see a little bit of the Cobra La influence in him. So Nullifier is dressed in all tan. His upper body seems armored. His lower body seems like he's wearing football pants, maybe. I don't know, with these little pads on the side and the laced-up pants. I think it's funny. He does have a black pistol here and just a black pad over there. There's a little bit of maroon pads on his boots, or the boot covers. He has little wires on his wrists here. As a kid, one of my friends used to like to pretend that he could shoot flames out of those, just to kind of give him a weapon when he was out of the Antigravity Pod. I always thought his helmet was really wicked, and I love that flip-down visor. Nullifier has standard G.I. Joe articulation. His head's on a ball joint. He can look up and down, side to side. He does have that visor that tilts. He's got a swivel and hinge at the shoulders. He's got a swivel at the bicep, the hinge at the elbow. He's got an O-ring that holds him together. That allows him to swivel a little bit here. His is super tight because I just changed it to do this review. He's got the normal bracket down here in his hips that attaches to the rubber band, and that allows his hips to move forward and backwards out to the side, and he's got a bend at the knee. As a kid, my Iron Grenadier army consisted of Destro with the despoiler, Voltar, and Nullifier with the A.G.P. So this was always a very important vehicle and one of my favorites from the Iron Grenadier line as a kid. I know there's other really cool vehicles like the Demon, but I just didn't have that one as a kid. This vehicle holds a special place in my collection. I just really remember having a great time with it as a kid. So it's my birthday month, and as a tradition on this channel, I generally release a video or two that uses clips from my actual childhood birthdays. So this clip comes from 1989. I get the Antigravity Pod, and in the clip, you know, I rip it open, and I was not a very good reader in first grade, and so my eyes immediately recognized the Battle Force 2000 logo, which is really just stating that this is the adversary to Battle Force 2000.
Pretty rapid.
G.I. Joe! G.I. Joe, what is? G.I. Force 2000! The bad guy Battle Force 2000!
Then we all kind of get excited because it's part of Destro's army, and that's sort of where it ends. Nobody actually names the vehicle in the clip.
Destro, it comes with a man. It's one of Destro's things. Yeah, I know, it's one of Destro's men.
And I just kind of move on to the next present. That was always something that we just kind of did. You know, you get super excited for that present, and then on to the next one, because you just wanted to see what everything was and quick get them open. There's not a whole lot of discussion in this video about the toy. I love it when the clips are just a little bit longer and there's a little bit more about it. But I had a lot of fun with this vehicle as a kid, and I hope you enjoyed this review.
Leading Destro's army is the Antigravity Pod, the A.G.P.
Thanks for watching this super exciting, outrageous toy review. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos. Can I recommend my Imperial Godzilla and King Kong review? It uses footage from the same birthday party.